Guys, welcome once again. So, newbies, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background. Let's dive into tonight's section.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, my name is AnewbiZ. I've been in the Web3 crypto space. This is my second bear market. So I first started kind of getting into it in 2017. I wasn't. I would say I went more full time 2019. However, it was kind of a slow journey down the rabbit hole from 2017 to 2019. By 2019, I was pretty much full time into crypto. I started out, mostly trading, which I think is pretty common. Most people come into the space because they hear they can get quick profit, right? You might find a cheap token that everyone thinks is going to go to the moon, and that's how a lot of people get into it. For me, my journey started in stock market trading, actually. So I was a trader. Back at that time, I was kind of semi-pro. I've learned a lot since those days, but I was learning how to kind of day trade. So I realized that crypto was a lot more volatile with sharper price movements on a daily basis. So I decided to try trading crypto for that reason, because it would be more profitable on a day trader perspective. And then from there, of course, once you start down the rabbit hole, you continue down the rabbit hole, you start learning more about what the technology is, what it's good for, and how it can actually, change your own life and change the world. So that's kind of how I got into the space. I've been part of Secret Network now for a couple years. I actually joined. I'm trying to think. I think it was 2020. The end of 2020 was when Shade Protocol announced their airdrop for the first time, and it was their announcement of how to qualify for the airdrop that actually kind of onboarded me to Secret Network. There was a Medium article about how you had to delegate Secret, or you could delegate Atom or delegate Luna. And at the time, I was already staking Luna and Atom, because those were two projects that I had been an early investor of. So I decided to go ahead and buy some Secret and get the airdrop for all three. And then from there, I joined the education committee. A while after that, it was probably a couple months of just kind of staying on the sidelines. Started helping in the education community for Secret Network, making content. Outside of this, I've been running it's an investor group. It's a Discord group, subscriber based for traders, just helping people kind of learn how to trade markets, how to become traders in their own right. So I was already, familiar with creating content for that reason. So it was a pretty easy on board into making content for Secret Network. Since then, I've been slowly kind of growing through the secret agents. I'm now handling the social media accounts for the network. Yeah, that's kind of the kind of short and quick version. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Go ahead and feel free. Otherwise, we could kind of start getting into the content of what is social media marketing.
Yeah, thank you very much, AnewbiZ. I never knew you were into stock exchange before you joined cryptocurrency or before you became a trader in the crypto space. That was really amazing. You've gotten an amazing background and you're one of the OGs in this space. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's been an exciting journey. One of the things I tell everybody coming into this space is you're either gonna grow a thick skin or you won't make it because this space is very fast moving. The prices are volatile, but so is like the sentiment, like and emotion. It's a roller coaster. You go up really high and you go down really quickly. So um, you kind of grow a thick skin and just kind of get used to the roller coaster.
Absolutely, because I'm used to it now. Now I'm used to the roller coaster. At first, it usually gets to me, but now I'm super cool with it. It doesn't really bother me much. So let's dive into tonight's discussion. So, guys, welcome once again to tonight's discussion. So tonight we'll be discussing about social media marketing, also community management, and we have AnewbiZ with us who has just introduced himself to us and he told us about his background. So, AnewbiZ, let's dive into tonight's discussion. So, what do you have for us, AnewbiZ?
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to focus mostly on fundamental and the basics of social media marketing. Um, we're focused on Web3 here, and to be honest, social media is the bread and butter of Web3 marketing. Um, and that's not exclusive to Web3. To be honest, in this day and age, any serious platform, any serious company has to have a social media presence. But in Web3, it's even more so because Web3 is kind of excluded from a lot of the kind of more mainstream channels. There's very few public broadcasts on television that will cover crypto or blockchain. So we've kind of come to depend on social media more than even other markets. Most of us are at least familiar with the word marketing, right? In the past, marketing was kind of a mystical profession with people in tuxedos and business suits and requirements like a psychology degree. And marketing required large sums of money. Big companies would pay for airtime on television shows, paying for articles in magazines, or buying a billboard. And then a smaller company might use a newspaper in the past. But with the birth of social media, the marketing game has really changed, and this has been a slow grind for probably 20 years now, but it's become more and more paramount over the last couple years, maybe 5 years. We now have freely available tools that actually outperform many of those mainstream mediums in many ways. Nowadays, even big news channels will use social media as their source for breaking news. Your local news channel, making a breaking news report, a lot of times what they'll show as their source material is a quote from Twitter or Facebook or some social media platform. And the reason for that is because social media is real time. It's the fastest method of making some kind of news report, and that's the same thing for marketing. It's real time, so you're able to communicate with your audience right now, rather than having to schedule some kind of an article or broadcast. And so we're very blessed to have this free tool available to us. It's those are the two major reasons why social media marketing is so important. First of all, it's free. Anyone can access it and use it. And although there are paid tools that improve your performance, the foundational platform is free. Second, the speed. The fact that you can communicate with your audience in real time is incredibly powerful. So if you're in the Web3 space, like I said, social media marketing is the bread and butter of marketing. That it's going to be maybe not your only marketing, but it will be your foundation. A Web3 project that fails to make a social media presence will fail as a startup. It simply will not. It will not make it. And one of the major reasons, going back to my investor background, when I do due diligence on a new project, the first thing I check is their socials. Do they have a social? How long have they been around? What kind of content do they put? And what quality of content do they put? The second thing is their website and look into their documentation. But the first stop is always socials. So if they don't have that, then I stop looking at them. I no longer take them seriously. So anyone that's maybe listening to this, either in the live event now or in the recording, if you are considering a startup in Web3, definitely do not skip out on your social presence. So let me see if I can just share my screen. I had made, what I'm going to do, this is actually going to be the first time this content has been shared. I wrote this up a while ago, actually for the secret agency. And it didn't get launched so far. However, the content is exactly for this this topic here: how to make meaningful engagements, format tweets, form threads, build relationships, and so on. And then, towards the end, we'll cover maybe some professional tools that can kind of help and along the way as well.
Awesome. And you made me remember when when you started engaging several tweets on Twitter, which is now X. I remember the way you engage with meaningful communication or conversations. Also, your tweets, which are very, very meaningful. You are always, in touch, and you were able to build this online presence, which was really amazing. And I'm good you've been consistent with it, and this has really shown great results. Yeah, thanks so much. Of course, you can share your screen.
So yeah, I appreciate it. One sec. Might see if I can just want to make sure I find the right one. Okay, I guess there's kind of quite a bit of content, so I think I'm just going to start right into the workshop here. Go ahead and cut me off, Pope, at any time if there's questions or anything. But there is quite a bit of content to kind of go through, so we can just start the workshop and content here right away.
That would be awesome. Let's go.
Okay. Can you guys see the my screen here? Should say how to format a tweet.
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be kind of the first lesson. And there's actually going to be 5 of them. You might see the tabs up at the top of my screen. But we're going to start with the basic of the basics: how to format a tweet. Now, it might seem very basic, like who doesn't know how to write a tweet, right? There's actually more that should go into it than most people realize. So don't be thrown off by the title. And I'm just going to read through this. Like I said, I wrote this a while ago, but all of the points are very sound. Writing a tweet is about making a clear and concise point with only a few words. That's important. You want to grab the reader's attention immediately and deliver your message quickly. Even when creating a tweet thread consisting of multiple tweets to describe something in greater detail, you want to write each tweet to include a complete thought as compact as possible. Consider these 3 tips as the core to making good tweets. Keep your tweet short and to the point. Make sure you do not use unnecessary words. Don't make your content too wordy. Avoid redundancy. Don't repeat yourself. And do not cover the same subject more than once. Formatting for readability and making your tweets easy to digest. You want to make it easy to read. When tweeting, you want to separate individual topics and complete thoughts in an easy to read way by adding blank lines. On the screen, I'm just going to show you real quick an example. By adding blank lines, we're going to call that a full thought. You just add an extra line by hitting enter once or twice in order to break it up. Now, blank lines separate core sentences and enhance readability for users because your content can be understood in small, complete bites, one at a time. You can kind of see how this is formatted. I have this full thought, a space here, and then another thought. It makes it easier to kind of scan and just, take one bite at a time and digest it. Twitter as a platform is all based on scrolling action by users. This means people scroll through content until they find something interesting and stop for a second to digest it. Good formatting not only allows users to understand as much as possible in as little time as possible, but it also helps with increasing visibility. A tweet of 160 characters with multiple blank lines is significantly larger than a tweet without it. Use size to your advantage. This is the same reason why pictures, polls, and tweet embeds work great for Twitter engagement. Now let's dive into some examples. I'm gonna show you some actual examples of tweets from the past. So we're gonna look at this example right here. This was me. The tweet says, only about 2 weeks out from Shade Bonds, I cannot wait. Like I said, this was wrote a while ago. So I have a point right up here. What's this about? It's about Shade Bonds are coming very soon, and I'm excited about it. That catches the attention, right? You can get ready for the launch by participating in Shade /Stake Secret LP providing. Earn yield on Stake Secret plus Shade on the LP. DeFi on Secret is getting an upgrade, and this fall is going to be epic. So just kind of looking at this tweet, how it's kind of formatted. You got the space here, something to grab the attention. What can I do with this information? What's the benefit? And kind of the follow-up thought, the ending thought. And then you can see this is a quote tweet. So I have an embedded tweet from Carter as kind of the base here. So someone can kind of easily click into that and look deeper. So now let's read a little bit of the commentary. Notice how the tweet starts with a statement meant to grab attention, like I just mentioned, then a paragraph row between that and the follow-up thought right here, another paragraph row to separate that, and a new statement about benefits, followed by another paragraph and a summarizing announcement to emphasize the excitement. This is topped off with an embedded tweet or quote tweet that gives the reader an option to easily look further into the subject by the original author. This structure allows the reader to quickly and easily read from one thought or topic into the next with clear break lines and covers what it is, how to use it, and what the benefits are. all in a small number of words. Now let's compare this tweet. This one's also by me. So we can see here, and I'm not sure if it's big enough for you guys to actually read, so I'm just going to read it out. At Seth Hertland gets it. Privacy is a human right and one worth fighting for. Make no mistake, what the Treasury Department did this week impacts each and every person's human rights and sets a precedent that cannot end well. Privacy is a legally protected human right. And this is in response to a quote, to a tweet where Seth has said, this week, the U.S. Treasury Department did something it's never done before. It sanctioned a piece of code. Weird, right? Actually, it makes perfect sense. Let's peel that onion. And just for context, this was about the Tornado Cash sanctions from the U.S. Treasury Department, which, if you haven't heard about it, you should definitely look into it, and maybe we can cover that later. But I want you to look at how this is formatted and compare it to the one that we just went over. See how there's no lines in between this? It's just one big block of words. See the difference between them? Both tweets contain good messages with well-written text, but one is much easier to read than the other. If your tweet's not easy to read, it's less likely that people will stop scrolling and take the time to read it. So if you kind of compare, just looking at this and looking at this, imagine you were scrolling on your phone through Twitter. Which one are you more likely to stop and actually read if you came across it? Okay, now make your tweets stand out. Using graphics, images, and emojis in your tweets can make your content more likely to catch your audience's attention, because color and graphics break up the constant flow of text in the timeline. Adding videos that coincide with your content makes your tweets grab readers' attention and are more likely to get engagement, since many people get curious about what the video contains. This is a great way to educate and get engagement. Polls are another strong engagement tool because people are naturally curious about the results and will click to see them. If you think about it, when you're scrolling on social media and you see a poll, a vote taking place, how often do you go ahead and vote on it just to see what those results are? I know I do it all the time. After voting, they're likely to comment on what they agree with. A great way to add more information to a single tweet is using infographics that describe how something works or contains a guide. This saves you many words, so the need to actually write about something, and it can be digested by a reader in a single glance. This also can add appealing art to your content, which makes it stand out even more. So infographics are a great way not only to catch the eye because of the images, but also add educational value to it and save you on your word count. Emojis can help you convey emotion and inflection and helps add substance to your content, as well as add fun and color. When you think about it, pure text cannot convey emotion the way speaking face-to-face with a person can. Just the way I'm speaking right now, you can hear in my voice the different inflections, and I can really I can express emotion much better. However, when you're reading something, it's a lot harder to kind of get that emotion, get that inflection of excitement or frustration or whatever it is that you want to convey. That's where those emojis come in. So emojis help add that missing context. So it's good to get creative and have fun with emojis. It kind of spices up your content. and it can kind of help you connect because you can add that emotional factor to it. Let's get into another quick example. So this one here, let me see if I can maybe blow it up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So this one, this is from last year in August. Only about 2 weeks out from Shade Bonds. I cannot wait. This is the same one that we had up here. However, the previous example cut off right at this area. Get your state secret liquid staking derivative at Shade Protocol. Get to double dip rewards because your state secret derivative is accruing secret yield on its own, and the total paired LP includes Shade gains yield from fees and incentives in Shade. Soon bonds. Okay, so looking at the example above, you can see the fire emoji adding emphasis and energy to the statement right here. And the muscle adds a strong emotion to the bonds announcement. Let me kind of bring this back down so we're back in format. There we go. There we go. And the emojis in the quoted tweet are used as list tools, signaling what's ready and how to use it. You can add a feeling of astonishment. Yeah, you can add a feeling of astonishment with the little mind-blown emoji here. A great way to add deeper understanding to your subject is to link other content, such as other threads, articles, web pages, or document links. This gives the reader the ability to easily dive deeper, but not be forced to read through it in the initial tweet. So, for example, right in here, I quoted this. So this is a whole nother thread from Carter that the reader can click into and dive deeper, learn more about it. But they're not forced to read all of this before getting to the end of my content. So it kind of gives some flexibility to the reader. If you have too much information in a single thread, it's more likely people will stop reading before the end. This is because people get bored quickly. Especially on social media, people have the attention span of hamsters or squirrels, very, very quick to get bored. So this actually comes to the end of just this first little bit. So we're actually going to save this part, forming our first tweet for the end. As long as we have time, we'll actually do form an actual tweet together in the group here. So before I move on to the next one, I'll go ahead and pause and just give anybody a chance to ask questions. If anyone has some, go ahead and ask. Or Pope, did you have anything you wanted to add right here, or should we go into maybe the next section?
Yeah, I wanted to, ask if anyone has any questions, they should please ask. Please feel free to ask any questions regarding social media, content creation, marketing, management. Please do feel free to ask.
Oh, you kind of blanked out there, Pope. He might have lost connection. I'll just go ahead and move on here. I think the previous lesson, like I said, it is pretty basic, but it's very important. The content in there, it's something that most people kind of understand, but don't really think of when they're actually, creating a piece of content. So it is a good idea to, maybe even look back over the recording. If this is a subject that you're really interested in, I would encourage, going back over. And, at any time, you can find me at AnewbiZ007 on Twitter. I'm always happy to help. So we'll go ahead and move on. We're actually going to talk about how to maximize visibility and reach. So we'll kind of hold on to what we already kind of just covered, but we're going to add some more context and some more strategy into, kind of how to plan your content ahead of time. So in this article, we will cover the tools and practices that can give you the ability to reach bigger audiences, as well as target specific audiences. These are both very important differences, in getting more views, bigger audiences is extremely powerful, very important, but it's different than, and just as important as, specific audiences. So a bigger audience could be, for example, if I have a Web3 project, and I expand my audience, I may get the wrong audience. If I'm getting views from, say the Super Bowl or a sports audience, they're probably less likely to care about what I say. So there's an audience there, but they aren't actually going to engage. So that's where kind of the specific audiences are more important. You want to make sure your content gets to someone that actually cares about what you're saying. So we'll kind of learn some targeting. Social media platforms like Twitter have the ability to tag people, places, topics, and phrases. And a lot of the way this is written is focused on Twitter. However, I'll just note that this applies to pretty much any social media platform. The ability to tag and most of the tools we're going to talk about are available for, like Facebook, Instagram, or any other. Getting to know how to use these to your advantage can really increase your visibility, allowing people who would not otherwise know you to easily find your content. So we're going to dive in here. Tagging a person or project profile gives visibility to all their followers. That makes sense, right? When writing a tweet about a specific project like Secret Network, tagging them by using the @Twitter handle function posts it to the Twitter feed and will show up in the followers of Secret Network timelines. So rather than just writing out Secret Network, put the @ and then the Secret Network user handle so that it tags them and it will show up on their feed, but also anyone who follows Secret Network will see that it was mentioned and it'll show up in their feed, if that makes sense. This can be a big advantage in gaining an audience. If your content is good, then the audience can now discover it. When starting out on your Twitter profile, it's best to tag solid projects in your content. So when you're kind of starting your whole journey here, you want to target a few specific projects that are big in your space, something relevant to what your content is, and that has a big audience already. This will provide you with a big audience from the start and can quickly raise your follower count if you write interesting ideas and content. And I mentioned Secret Network here, but you can really modify this to whatever audience is relevant to you. Tagging a project in your threads also benefits the readers by giving an easy way to click through directly to the profile and follow up, research, and explore the project further. So whenever you tag a project or a profile, the reader can click on the tag and go straight to their account, which allows them to kind of further research easily just by clicking through your content. This helps you direct readers' attention and adds more depth to your content with a simple tag. Sorry, 1 second. If your content is based on a project and it's well written, many readers will want to learn more about it. So it's best to add the main profile tag in place of the project name while writing. This way, it looks natural. So we're going to look at an example. This one is written by Erdeman, a member of the secret community. And it just reads, privacy preserving on-chain limit orders are coming to @secret network, thanks to BTN Group. So he's now tagged secret network and button swap, BTN Group. So the two projects that he's referencing are now easily found by just clicking on the tag here, the blue text. And then you can see that space that we talked about in the previous lesson. Join the Waffle Ape and me this Thursday to discuss the implications for BUTT token and SCRT token with the founder, Stephen. Hope to see you there. So in this, you can see it just flows naturally. It's just the sentence, but instead of saying secret network, it's @secret network. Instead of saying button swap, it's @BTN Group, which adds that depth. It still says the same thing in words. However, the reader can actually do further research by just clicking on these tags. Same into the next paragraph. The Waffle Ape is another community member. And then these cache tags, which we'll cover more later. But the cache tags, you can click on these and easily view other mentions of those tokens. You can also see the use of the emoji, kind of making it stand out. So this is a well-written, easy to read and digest tweet that also has that extra depth. And then I think reading through this, it'll be basically what I just said. Notice secret network and BTN are named with tag to the profile. Yeah, that basically just covers what I just said. Okay, so our next topic, hashtags. Hashtags can add even more reach to your content. One of the most powerful audience targeting tools on Twitter is the hashtag. This tag is meant to create trending data and increase the visibility of data to all users. When a certain hashtag, topic, or phrase is used many times, it causes an algorithm to push it into the trending topics, which gets pushed to the home feeds of all users. Many people use hashtag searches to find the most recent news about a topic. So using these hashtags correctly can make you appear right at the top of your targeted audience's results. Here's an example. Let me kind of try and blow this up here a little bit, if we can. And it's not going to get too big, is it? Okay, so you can see up at the top here, and if you can't see it, I'll just read it. Hashtag Cosmos IBC with capital IBC. So I've searched for the hashtag Cosmos IBC, and what comes up, and you can filter this next row here, you can filter top posts, latest posts, which would be, top would be the most engaged, latest would be the most recent, people would be people that have the hashtag in their profile, photos that reference the hashtag, and videos that reference the hashtag. So you can kind of filter. We can see in top, you can see a couple of posts from me. that use the hashtag. So you can see Cosmos IBC hashtag on the bottom part here. And the tweet says, "Congratulations to Jackal Protocol and team. Great to see more platforms that protect user privacy by default. This has been a highly anticipated platform and one of the clearest use cases of Web3 utility. Own your data and protect it." Hashtag Cosmos IBC, cash tag, which is the token, JKL, secret, and Atom. So that one, and then here, cast your vote, secret agents, hashtag Cosmos ecosystem, Cosmos IBC. And it just references a secret agency quote tweeted. Now, let's see. In this example, you can see how a search of Cosmos IBC brought results of recent posts by AnewbiZ to the top. The hashtag made the posts easy to find for people interested in Cosmos IBC. So anyone kind of researching the Cosmos IBC would immediately come to my content, find me, chances are they might follow me and see what else I've been saying. Also, on the right side of the page, you can see current trending topics. Hashtag Lunk, which is the old Luna coin, is trending because of current events, and hashtag Cryptos is trending because a lot of people tag cryptos on a regular basis. So on Twitter, whenever you go into the search, you'll always see this little box here on the right, and it shows you the trending topics of the day. And yes, cryptos is almost always there on Twitter because crypto Twitter is extremely active. Generally, less so right now in a bear market. So you can always see, what's trending, and that's going to be important more later because you can take whatever is trending here and use it to your advantage. If you're making a piece of content, just for example, Lunk, the original Luna coin. If I'm making a piece of content and I can somehow relate it to Luna, I could use the hashtag LUNC naturally into my content somehow and bring that into a greater and more focused audience just by using the topic that is already trending today. So that's a very important piece of information to keep in mind whenever you're creating content, especially real time. Not so much when you're scheduling it ahead of time, but when you're writing something, in the moment, taking note of what's trending is a powerful tool. Okay, with that in mind, it could be a good time to make tweets that tag or engage those trending topics because many eyes are on them today. Try playing with the hashtag search to find content about topics you like, and then think about how you can use them to your advantage. There we go. 1 second. Let me bring this back. Okay. Cash tags can be used for market tickers. Market tickers would be, tokens. They're also used for stocks. A ticker is, it's either the token name or a stock identifier. And they're used primarily in markets. So another tag that's used a lot, like the hashtag, is the cash tag, especially for anything financial, and especially on Twitter. In markets, each asset has what is known as a ticker. These are a series of letters or numbers prefixed by the money symbol, the dollar symbol, such as hashtag SCRT for secret. These are used in exchanges for representing and searching assets on the market. On Twitter, you can tag projects using the asset cash tag associated with it. So for example, Secret Network, you can kind of tag them or relate your content with them by using the cash tag SCRT. And it allows people to find your content by searching that asset cash tag, much like searching the hashtag. This also adds to a trend known as sentiment in markets. Sentiment is a very widely used metric in crypto markets and can be quite valuable when enough cash tags accumulate to make a project trend, especially if the sentiment paired with the trend is considered bullish. So just for a quick example, when people are tweeting about a token constantly, and there's a positive sentiment behind it, the tweets are generally positive, it adds to what's called the bullish sentiment, which is it's an indicator that traders and investors use very often in crypto. Sentiment analysis is right up there with technical analysis when it comes to trading cryptos. Some traders base their entire strategy on sentiment. So it's another very important tool, and it's also a nice way to kind of focus your content. So let's try searching for the cash tag SCRT. Again, you can see the filters. Here's the picture. We've got the cash tag SCRT here. And at the top, you can see the people, Secret Labs, CryptoChem, and Secret Network. Those are the top 3 profiles, at least at that time, that was relevant to this cash tag or has the cash tag in their profile. So as you can see here, the name, SCRT Labs, Secret Network obviously has the cash tag. And then CryptoChem, he's got a really good size following, very solid community member. And he has the cash tag right in his profile. Now, beyond that, you can see the tweets. So right here, you can see Secret Skrilla, who did his workshop here with you guys just a couple days ago, I believe. And it just pulls up a tweet because at that time, this was one of the more engaged tweets that had the cash tag. And he was saying, book a secret agent to deliver a secret workshop to your community, covering universities and societies, grassroots events and community initiatives, business and Web3 projects, exploring privacy, events and conferences, and more. And I want you to kind of notice that format he has on his tweet. It's very well done, easy to read, uses emojis to make it stick out. It's colorful, easily digested. It uses the cash tag and hashtags, so it's targeting Web3 audience, privacy audience, and the secret market, as well as tagging Secret Network, allowing anyone that's kind of looking into Web3 to spot Secret Network pretty easily. So this is a very well done and well focused tweet here. In the example, you can see popular profiles that have the tag in the bio, as well as top engaged recent tweets with secret in the text. If we were to continue scrolling, we would be able to see all the recent tweets with that tag. However, that's where the screenshot ends. And here's just a pro tip. In crypto Twitter, using a cash tag is a sign of a veteran and has value on multiple levels since it adds reach, visibility to the project, and it adds to the trending algorithms, which impacts the sentiment, especially. So try to use a cash tag anytime you're making content on an asset specifically. And when I say in crypto Twitter using cash tags as a sign of a veteran, generally, if you go through Twitter and you look into a project, you're going to see a few things. Some people will use hashtag SCRT or hashtag ETH, for example, and then others will use the cash tag ETH or cash tag SCRT. the ones that use the cash tag are considered, more knowledgeable because they know that that's actually a ticker. That's not a hashtag. A hashtag would be more of a phrase or the name of the project rather than the market ticker. If you're going to reference a market ticker, you should use the cash tag. So people that use that are taken more seriously by at least in the crypto space. And generally in markets overall. So this would apply to a traditional finance like stock market community as well. So that wraps up number 2. Go ahead and pause for just a minute if there's any questions on this before moving on to the next. And Pope, if you wanted to say anything in here.
The section has been going really, really well. And to be honest, I've picked some knowledge from what you said so far. So, guys, if you do have any questions, please drop your questions in the Telegram chat or request to speak. I think I have a question from Elaine. So, Elaine, now you have the mic. Can you ask a question? Elaine, please do feel free to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to ask a question?
Ellen, you can use the meetings chat, the Telegram chat, if you don't want to use the mic. And if probably you're not ready for your question, we can move on and then feel free to ask the question in the Telegram chat or just unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah, AnewbiZ, I think we can move on. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on then. But yeah, if there is a question kind of while I'm kind of cruising through here, feel free to just throw any questions in the chat and, we can always kind of go back and review later. But that way, you can put it out there while you're thinking about it and not risk forgetting when it comes to the Q&A time. Okay, so section 3. How to engage meaningfully. This is super important. Yeah, we'll dive into it. But engaging meaningfully is so important. There's too many projects and kind of teams that engage superficially or kind of shilly, kind of scammy. Low quality engagement can, not always, but it can actually damage a project's image. Just for example, cheap botting, shill farms. It is just for example, if you're reading on Twitter, you see something's got, for example, 100 likes and 300 retweets. You already know that post is being botted. Someone probably paid for a bot service to try and push them into the trending algorithms. The problem is that's a huge red flag right away. If I'm doing my due diligence and researching a new project and I see that on their socials, I'm turned off immediately. And the same thing, a lot of times you can tell the bots by a very cheap remark. They're going to comment, but it'll be, a single word like great or okay or, just something very superficial, super brief, nothing of real substance. And then you're going to see that same comment again and again and again because these cheap bot farms will just simply copy and paste into their script, and 20 bots are going to just go and post the same thing. And the same thing goes for when you're organically engaging. When you go out there, you want to make sure when you're engaging that you're not mistaken for a bot. So you want to make sure that your content is actually meaningful. That's not to say that you can't make just a single word statement or just use an emoji for excitement, but you have to be tasteful with it, and you have to kind of be strategic. So we're going to kind of cover some of that in here. So yeah, how to meaningfully or engage meaningfully in comments. In this article, we're going to cover how one can best engage on high visibility Twitter posts to gain extra traction for your own account or project. We will also cover what not to do. So we're going to look at this example. And this is actually an example taken from when Tornado Cash was sanctioned. And it's by the founder of Thorchain, the Rune project. So Chad Barraford says, if government blacklists Uniswap for not KYCing, what would Thorchain do? Add KYC? How quickly could government turn DeFi into CeFi? Excuse me. You can't say we are getting rid of centralized control only to bend the knee to centralization a moment later. Stand with hashtag DeFi, stand with hashtag privacy. So, he's making a pretty, a pretty blunt, very focused statement. He's making a stand on his morals. And then you can see the engagement here from Erdeman. And his response is, privacy is of paramount importance for secure and workable Web3. Happy to hear Thorchain and the IBC ecosystem can rely on non-censored DEXs. Would love to see Secret Network get on Thorchain one day. So you can see the response here by Erdeman. He's engaging, but he's making a very clear point with a solid message behind it. It would be so easy to just like it and just say agreed or something, but that that kind of superficial engagement, you aren't going to get taken very seriously. The author's not going to actually notice it. They might like it, but they aren't going to notice the author. When you make a solid, succinct point like this, not only does the author see it, appreciate it, and maybe look into you, but anyone else that's reading it also feels that same way. So this is a great example of what to do, right? When engaging on high visibility posts, you can take two different directions, including an original comment of a unique perspective, or engage with a comment from someone who agrees or disagrees with your view. So in this case, he made a new comment, right? However, another thing you could do is either, reply to Erdeman here on his comment, turn it into a thread, either agreeing with him, making another point that coincides with his, or disagreeing with him and kind of counter the argument. So those are two different directions you can go. Reply to comments to bust FUD. This is another strategy. When you're engaging, some of the greatest opportunities to engage meaningfully are to engage in a wrongful view of a project based on FUD. Let's look at an example of NFT and blockchain FUD you see often. Energy. And just for context, FUD, when I say FUD, I mean fear, uncertainty, and doubt is what it actually means, the definition. But in our space, in Web3 and crypto, you hear FUD very often, somewhat loosely used, to be anything that's kind of, counter or against a project. When someone's talking or arguing against a project, it's considered FUD, right? Or someone's saying something negative. So here's our example. This is an example of actually, one of the NFTs that was minted on Secret Network is it's called Kilroy Was Here. It's a full-length movie that was directed by Kevin Smith, the director from Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob. He's a pretty well known. And so this comment was a reply to Kevin Smith when he was announcing this NFT movie. And the person who commented said, "I love you, but NFT technology," in quotes, "is absolutely not a thing the world needs. Not a thing that needs normalizing. And there's no such thing as an eco-friendly NFT. No matter how the vested interests spin it, it is all a harmful nonsense." So this is a very negative statement, and we can kind of break that down. But you'll see in the example here where I reply to him, "Not true. There is many worlds of context missing from your blatant statement. Many NFTs are not something I am a fan of due to completely different reasons, but energy is not part of the list. Very few networks would fit into energy intense. Ethereum only, and that not really." So right away, I'm calling him out on his eco-friendly statement here. And then you can see Erdeman as well replying, "I'd be curious to see what costs more energy, watching your Netflix series or DVD or watching this NFT. Probably zero difference. No Ponzi either. You buy access to a unique movie." So this was kind of in response to another thing. Someone above this was talking about NFTs being a Ponzi. So here we can see someone talking about environmental harm based on a misconception of what's involved in blockchain consensus and NFT creation. That misconception, everyone thinks about ESG and how Bitcoin and the energy it uses is destroying the planet, and they're kind of applying that narrative to NFTs. And at the end of the day, proof of stake networks is where most NFT creation is actually taking place, and the amount of energy used is absolutely negligible. So it's definitely a misconception, but it's kind of hard to convince someone of that fact. Now, we're going to get into kind of strategy here. The trick to busting FUD is to make a solid point that shares facts on the topic for other readers to see later. Many times, the person you're responding to will not change their preconceptions in that conversation. You do not have to convince each person spreading FUD that they are wrong. It's generally best to share facts that break FUD for the people who read it later and may be fooled by a false narrative. So you're actually speaking, when you're responding to this FUD, the perception or your focus should be on the other readers, the people that are going to see this later on, rather than trying to convince the person you're responding to that they're wrong. Let's take a look at a second example, this time regarding competition that spread a false narrative. And this is going to get a little specific. This is an infographic that's shared often by the Darrow community that attempts to make Secret look bad, but it's using false information. So they have this infographic, and they use it all the time. But the main thing here is that most of their content in their little bullet points against Secret Network are just simply false. They're not correct. And the Darrow community is very aggressive. So one of the more effective ways to combat FUD from them is to be direct and state facts. So rather than getting into name calling and all of this, just a direct, blunt statement of fact it is much better than trying to argue nuances or turns of phrase. Most of them will not be convinced, although it is always best to hope that they will listen. In these situations, the point of engagement is to allow anyone reading it to get value and facts and not be fooled by false narratives. So again, you're speaking to the audience, not the person you're responding to. The examples taken are from this thread if you would like to read the whole thing. If anyone wants to read it, I can share that. I'm going to go into the examples here, though. So below, we can see AnewbiZ replying to that graphic. So this graphic was shared on a post. And here, I'm actually responding to the post that shared that graphic. Your graphic is still incorrect on pretty much every part under SCRT. I'm sorry, but just saying things does not make them true. Whether it is on a graphic or not, it is still incorrect information. And interoperability with public chains means privacy as a service. So you can see, I'm not getting into details. I'm just saying unequivocally, this is incorrect. It's bad information. So I'm being blunt about it, right? I'm not cussing them out. I'm not using vulgar language, but I am being very blunt, right? It's professional, but blunt. The person who shared it engages, opening the opportunity to share facts. So the person that I've responded to goes ahead and responds to me, and he asks a question. So he opens this door to opportunity. And so he asks, Secret does not run on deprecated trusted Intel chips. This is one of the points in that infographic, that it runs on deprecated hardware. And so I respond, no, it does not. The deprecated chips were personal computer lines. SCRT does not use them. It uses enterprise SGX chips. So I'm clearing up, I'm sharing the facts, the good information regarding what hardware is actually used, as opposed to what they share in that infographic. And then he asks for a little more. Which parts are incorrect? I may need to do some digging if my info is dated, not my graphic though. So you can see he's kind of started to think about it. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. And he's kind of asking for more information, which is great because that doesn't always happen in FUD cases. So just a little more context. The SGX chip FUD is very common misconception. When people are talking about badly about Secret Network, one of the hardware requirements for running a validator is a certain computer chip, which is called SGX, and it's what allows the encryption to happen. And these SGX chips have an enterprise version and a personal version, which was the personal version was discontinued a couple years ago. So that misconception comes up quite often. But the rest of the graphic needs to be addressed point by point, and there's a lot that's false. Basically, every point is false. We won't go into all of it, but we will go into a little more here. So here's kind of my point by point example. SCRT is a layer 1 network, not a layer 2. SCRT is a wrapped asset. Tokens launched on Secret are launched on the network using the SNP20 token standard, just like any other token standard, just like an ERC20 on Ethereum. Secret Network is permissionless. On their graphic, it says it's a permissioned network. There exist permissioned and permissionless dApps and contracts on the network. There exist trusted and trustless dApps and contracts on the network. This depends on creators and is not something applicable to the whole network. So you can see each one of their points, I'm pointing out the false information and adding the good information. Saying SCRT is not trustless is opinion-based, not fact-based. It is the age-old proof of stake versus proof of work argument. It comes down to decentralization, and SCRT is decentralized. There's no single trusted party validating all TX. I would encourage some more research. So you can see, once again, I haven't cussed them out. I haven't used vulgarity. I'm not being rude. I'm being professional, but I'm being blunt. I'm being very direct in calling out the BS, right? So I've listed all of the points that they're wrong. And then at the end, I say, I would encourage you to do some more research, right? I'm inviting them to analyze their thoughts. And that's important. You want to always be professional. Don't try not to lower yourself to someone's level if they're being rude. You'll always come out on top in the end if you can keep it professional while others are not. Now, these items are shared for the value of other readers primarily. Again, I'm not trying to convince the guy that I'm responding to. I'm sharing this so that another reader coming through can actually see the correct information and gain value from that. These interactions can have more impact. As seen below, the person offers an apology for toxic behavior and an invitation. So this one kind of worked out pretty good. You can see, he said, sorry for any bad Darrow community experiences you have had, even if it was me. I had a bad experience at the beginning myself, but I kept researching the tech, and those who were toxic actually apologized. We're friends now. I'll be launching an NFT art line for fun. Stop by Discord. So, like I say, a lot of times you're not going to convince the other person, but sometimes it does work out. And in this case, he invited me to, come chat some more and even apologize for the toxicity, which is always great. This is how relationships start and a potential future opportunity to onboard. So this is great engagement. Now, if I had, gone into toxic behavior myself, this would not have ended this way. If I had gone into name calling or anything like that. And if you go to the link, you'll see there was plenty of name calling on other sides in that whole thread. So yeah, this is good. We'll move on to replying to comments and making a strong point increases engagement ratings. A great way to boost the visibility of a thread and the likelihood of it showing in other people's timelines is to engage by replying to another person's comment. Excuse me. Instead of making your own original comment. This serves to help algorithms find the thread by creating third and fourth level commentary on the thread. The more comments on a thread, the higher the rating that thread will get. When a comment gets commented on, it acts as a multiplier for this rating. Since it tells people and algorithms that something interesting is being discussed. The more levels of replies inside threads that grow on a thread, the higher the rating will get and the larger the audience it can reach. So if that makes sense, the idea is you have an original tweet and thread of comments, and then each comment can also grow a thread below it. And the more levels of these threads of comments that grows, the greater the rating and audience or potential audience is achieved. Avoid spamming comments. And this kind of comes back to what I was saying at the very beginning. One of the worst things you can do is make a bunch of low effort posts and comments and tag a project or ticker. We've all seen these comments. They look like low-level shills at best and make a project look like a scam at worst. Neither outcome is meaningful or constructive. Usually, this type of tweet comes from bots trying to farm engagement, rewards, or data. But it always turns the reader away, making it much less likely that they will engage. Below, we can see an example of a likely bot farm. Here, yeah. So these are just replies to a tweet. I believe it was even a secret daily mission. And you can see, you can see all of these bots. They're replying with a quote of a tweet they made with just SCRT and Juno cash tags. They're all exactly the same. It's all scripted. See, secret Juno, secret Juno, secret Juno. It's very obvious bot farm, and you can see the time, even though it's by the hour. They're all basically at the same exact time. So that's just a clear example of bot farms, trying to spam a thread into relevance. In the picture above, we can see a group of bots all posting the same message in the same way, very close together. This is on a post that was posted as a daily mission for the secret agency, which had the requirements to tag Juno in secret along with other requirements. This type of engagement is counterproductive to what the mission was trying to accomplish, however, as the daily mission was meant to promote productive commentary and organic conversation around those tags. This type of engagement causes a defensive reaction in the reader and makes them immediately think of scams, bots, or at best that it's not a legitimate engagement. So for example, the requirement was just to use the cash tag SCRT and Juno. Now, an example of a constructive way to do this would have been making a sentence and replacing the word secret or secret network with the cash tag and the mention of Juno with the cash tag, but saying something like SCRT is bringing privacy as a service to Juno. I can't wait, something of that nature to make it an actual complete thought that's relevant to the topic at hand, and just using the cash tags in place of words. That's an example of a meaningful way to engage, where this is actually kind of damaging the mission of the content itself. There we go. Okay, now to be clear, not all short comments are bad. When you keep the context to the topic, a single word, tag, or even emoji can be tasteful. Let's take a look at an example. So here we have an example, a tweet from Cosmos Haas, and he's asking a question, right? Adam and blank are one of the best long-term investments. So he's saying, hey, give me a ticker to fill in this blank. So it's perfectly acceptable for me to simply comment with a cash tag. In this case, I use two, but even just one cash tag. That's not spammy. That's actually meaningful to the topic at hand. It's a direct answer. So it's not always bad to do this, but it depends on the topic at hand. What is the point of doing so? In this example, the original tweet was a fill-in-the-blank question, so the context fits a single cash tag perfectly. The important thing to remember is context. Ask yourself this question: does this comment fit the conversation? If the answer is no, do not post it. Correcting misconceptions. At times, you will find high visibility threads made by a content creator or influencer who is excited and positive about possibilities of a project, but has a misconception about how things work. In these cases, it's best to be tactful in how you word things, but correct any misconception with a focus on educating. This way, you can contribute positively to the content, build on the existing engagement, and educate viewers and creators. By continuing the engagement, you can also get the conversation focused on what can be built and is already being built, which is always good organic marketing. Let's take an example of such an event. In the screenshot below, we can see a post by Crypto Harry, who is a well-known influencer from the Terra Luna community. He is positive in sentiment, but is not sure how SNP20 tokens will be usable in IBC channels. So his post is, SCRT is definitely going to get interesting in my opinion. As far as I know, their mainnet upgrade will make it possible to use privacy-preserving assets across Cosmos. Turn Atom into S-Atom on Secret, bring it back to Cosmos, and you have privacy on Atom. As far as I know, don't quote me. Okay, so he's not correct. He's being positive. This is good. You don't want to break that. You want to keep that person engaged. However, you want to correct the misconception. So you can see Erdman here. Just so you know, privacy for assets is only kept on the secret network itself. IBC already provides this for all native Cosmos chains. The upgrade, however, will bring interoperable smart contracts. This brings privacy dApps on networks like Team Kujira and Juno. Privacy as a service via IBC will enable stuff like on-chain true random numbers, private voting, private keys from other chains for DAOs, and more, but not transactional privacy. If you or anyone else wants more info about the details of how SCRT works, just DM me. So he's being very respectful. He's giving some facts. He's not calling him out, but he is saying, yeah, it doesn't quite work that way. You know, it works for these cool things over here, but not necessarily that. You know what I mean? So he's being tactful in it, and just educating, right? The bottom line is a secret token is only private while it's on secret network. Once you move that token to a public blockchain, anything on that public blockchain is public. So that's not quite how it works. However, those public blockchains can use privacy preserving data or tokens on secret network. So it goes the other way. It works in the opposite direction of what he was kind of going with. Okay, Erdman comments to add context on how SNP20 tokens are private while on secret network, kind of what I just mentioned. After correcting this, he adds some content regarding what is possible by speaking on interoperable smart contracts and privacy as a service. These utilities are very powerful and a great conversation topic that is largely unexplored. To summarize, this example shows how you can reach out to other communities and create relationships by adding value and promoting excitement for unexplored possibilities. This is a great way to outreach to other communities and build relationships with key opinion leaders. Like mentioned, Harry is a very big influencer in the Luna community. So this was a great opportunity to kind of build that relationship with the Luna community, as well as kind of build that excitement around, you know, what can be done using the interoperability. Okay, so that brings us to the end of 3. We still got 2 more. Sorry, this is kind of getting long. I do see a question here. How does a low incline engager in the space notice the other engager is a bot, not a human, to a high visibility post from a project post? Let me see. How does an engager in the space notice the other engager is a bot, not a human, to a high visibility? If I understand the question correctly, it's how does a person notice that someone is a bot rather than a human when you're looking at a high visibility post? The answer is, and I kind of covered it a little bit in this example, bots are usually very obvious. You're going to see different usernames with the same content. So you'll see 5 or 6 or more of a copy and paste, very short comment, just like this, 1 or 2 words, maybe just an emoji, but it's going to be repetitive, and there will be multiple examples of the same thing. Another giveaway of bots is on a high visibility post. When you look at the likes and the retweets, if a tweet has more retweets than likes, it's hands down being botted, because everyone always likes first and sometimes retweets. However, bots will always retweet first. So that's just another red flag. But the main giveaway for a bot is going to be the quality of content. It'll be very low quality, very superficial, and it'll be very short. Sometimes even probably misspelled a lot of times. So there's several indicators, but those are probably the most common. Just a kind of spammy, a secret good, or to the moon, and then repeated a dozen times or more. Does that kind of answer the question there, Busy Brain? Also, I'll go ahead and open it up here real quick to questions again. And if not, we'll go ahead and move on to how to form threads. All right, well, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and keep moving on. I'm going to try to speed this up so there's a little time at the very end for questions. So we're going to go into how to form Twitter threads. And I believe this one's not quite as long, I believe. Now, when writing content that contains more information than a single tweet can contain, you can create a thread by writing a tweet, commenting on it, and then commenting on each sequential tweet to tie them all together. We will use all of the things that we have learned so far about creating attractive content and tie them together in longer threads of information. Organization is a key part of good content. When creating a thread, you want to make it organized. Try to make complete thoughts in each tweet and number them in order. For example, write 1 of 2 on the top row of the first tweet and then 2 of 2 on the second tweet contained in the comment. This allows people to follow the content in order, even if large numbers of comments make it show up on the timeline out of order. Never break a sentence up into 2 separate tweets. When writing a thread, it's better to use less than the maximum number of characters in a tweet and end it with a full sentence than to break a thought mid-sentence. And here's 2 quick examples. Example 1, this is the incorrect one. 1 of 2. Secret Network is a layer 1 blockchain network that uses TEE technology to create private smart contracts. With CosmWasm v1.0, these private smart contracts, and then it breaks into the second tweet, 2 of 2, will be usable as interchain contracts, giving them even more utility. So you can see this is the incorrect part. Mid-sentence, we break it and go to the second tweet because we ran out of room. and finish a sentence at the beginning of the new tweet, or start the new tweet mid-sentence. That's a no-no. Never do that. And we're going to go to example 2. This is the correct. So instead, we make the first tweet short, and that's just fine. We don't have to use all of our characters in a tweet, but we end on a complete thought. So we end it at private smart contracts, period. Then we go to the second tweet, start with a new complete sentence, and finish it with a complete thought. So that's super important. Hopefully that's easy to understand. It's jarring to the reader to break them mid-sentence. It makes it harder to digest, harder to scan the content, and it's a lot more likely that someone's going to just stop reading. When writing a thread with multiple tweets, there's no exact limit or maximum number, but you must keep in mind that the longer the thread gets, the more likely the reader will give up reading it before the end. Sticking to a target of up to 6 tweets is a good rule of thumb. So 6 tweets or less is a really solid rule of thumb. You can do more, but just keep in mind, the more you do, the more likely people are to get bored. Use tools to improve your content. One great way to organize your threads is by using typefully.com, which is a tool that you can use to write your tweets out completely before sending them. It even adds the character count for you and is structured to look like Twitter. This allows you to create the full content with organization and all materials, so all your graphics, videos, quotes, embeds, all together in a full thread, allowing you to see the complete version before sending the first tweet. You're even able to share it with others to proofread and get feedback while you write the content. You can even schedule future tweets ahead of time if you get a subscription version, but the free version is useful on its own. You can use the free version to just pre-write your tweets out and just connect it to your Twitter, get it completely finalized, and then just send the tweet right away. If you want to kind of schedule ahead of time, there is like I can't remember how much it is, like maybe $10 a month or something. If you're going to manage multiple accounts, then it's best to get a social media management tool like Loomly. It allows you to schedule content for multiple platforms and multiple accounts on a calendar layout. The free version is useful, but it can be worth paying for a basic subscription if you're going to spend a lot of time professionally on this. So if you're going to try and do social media marketing professionally, I really do recommend just paying the basic subscription on Loomly. It gives you a calendar. You're able to schedule content for Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and quite a few others. I believe it's missing TikTok, but it does have most of them. And so it just makes your life so much easier if you're having to manage more than one account, for your own company or for another. It's really handy tool. But it also gives you that ability to write out your entire thread in the same format as Twitter. So you can kind of see it, the completed version before writing it out. Where if you notice, a lot of people will write it real time on Twitter. They'll write the tweet, they'll go into the comment, they'll write the comment tweet, and then keep going. And so writing that thread can take an hour or two, rather than just having it all created ahead of time and send it all at once. Okay, more tools. Another great tool is Grammarly, which will spell check and add suggestions to reword sentences in a better way. You simply install the extension on your browser, and it will highlight suggestions for you. It's definitely, if you're writing content, there's no reason not to get Grammarly. It's free. You can pay for extras, but the free tool is powerful enough, and there's no downside to it. These free tools can go a long way for a content creator just starting out. Later on, the paid versions can do even more for you. So again, I'm trying to give you kind of free tools to help kind of upgrade your game. And as you start making money in the space, you might find that the premium features are right for you. But there's a lot of free tools that you can get started with without having to make that investment. Make it easy to read and engaging. Most readers have a short attention span and will continue scrolling past if a thread looks like it will take very long to read, or they start reading and get bored halfway through. To avoid this, you want to be mindful of length and make the content thought-provoking and engaging. Just like we kind of talked about in formatting tweets. Short, sweet, to the point, grab their attention and tell them why they care. Usually, a thread of 6 tweets and under is considered easily readable, but there are times when you want to go even further. Just make sure that each additional tweet is necessary to get the whole point across, and cut out any unnecessary words. Write the content in a way that provokes new thoughts by the reader. Ask leading questions that get the reader thinking of new things that they can add to the thread by commenting. Make them want to engage. Make them pull them into that conversation with your content. Example, with all the great features of this new upgrade, what are you looking forward to the most? Comment below using the emoji. This is a leading question. This is saying, hey, I want your input. Comment with me. Engage on this piece of content. And then everybody that comments is going to raise the visibility of your content piece, and they're going to feel like they're included. So it's beneficial on many levels. Add calls to action to the thread that gets the reader to engage and share. For example, you could make a call to action like this. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, retweet the thread, and tag anyone you think this information can help. So you're giving them a call to action. You're telling them, do this for me. You're saying, hey, if you like the content, give me a like, give me a retweet, and tag anyone. And the more people they tag, the more that are hopefully going to like and retweet and add that visibility. If you don't add this call to action, most people won't do it. But if you add the call to action, you'll be surprised at the amount of people that actually do that extra engagement. So it gets the reader to engage with you, and it gets potential followers to discover you. Engage the people that engage with you. When people follow your call to action, it's best to find their retweets, quote tweets, and comments and engage with them. Like their quote tweets. So if people are quote tweeting you, check them and go engage on them. Give them a like, give them a comment, recognize the person for sharing the comment, start a conversation on their thread. A quote tweet acts as a new thread, but it adds engagement to the original tweet, which acts as a multiplier for the trending metrics. So when someone quote tweets you, you're getting engagement on your original, but also getting engagement on the new one. So it kind of multiplies that value. The more comments, likes, retweets, and replies that a thread gets, the higher the thread gets pushed out by discovery algorithms. For this reason, it's important to reply to each comment on your threads. So when people are commenting on your content, reply to them. Even if it's just, hey, thank you, or a handshake emoji, or if there's something that you can comment on, with a meaningful message, even better. If someone's asking a question, don't leave them, on red. go ahead and reply to them, answer questions, point them in the right direction, and keep the conversation going. Many times people will ask for clarification of a subject in educational threads. This becomes a great opportunity to further educate not only that person, but the entire audience. So be open to additional questions. Making the thread visually appealing, super important. When you're writing a thread, you need to make it more attention-grabbing than pure words will allow. So using what we have learned about emojis and graphics is important. Going back to the previous topic. Use emojis to convey thoughts and emotion in your text. Replace words with emojis to make the content stand out. Example, with all of the upcoming events, I will be keeping my eyes on this account. See what I mean? You can use that emoji in place of the word eyes on this account. And it makes it kind of stand out. It breaks it up and says, oh, hey, what's the little googly eyes for? Grabs the attention. Use graphics to add depth to your content and visual appeal. In this example, you can see lots of emojis on the secret agency account here. Makes it stand out, nice and colorful. But there's also an infographic here. And this is a strong statistic. Any content that contains an image is going to get more engagement. I believe it's about 1% more engagement, which may sound small, but when you're talking about thousands and millions of views, it adds up very quickly. So adding an image anytime you can is super important. Use linked articles, videos, or threads to give additional deeper information rather than writing it all out in one thread. This makes your content easier to digest, but still contains as much content as you wish. Here's an example. So this secret agency, 1 of 13, this is a thread. The first one, it has a YouTube video linked. So here's the content, but embedded is the video for more information. And then on the second one, talking about secret token viewing keys. And then embedded is the article, the tutorial on how to manage viewing keys. So in a thread, anytime you can kind of link further information or source material, you definitely want to do that. It adds better depth and more value. There's many ways to personalize your content. Using the tips we've covered, you can start to explore the possibilities and discover even more for yourself. There's always room to place your personal touch on your content, and taking a unique approach will help you create a brand for yourself. This is an important understanding for anyone who wishes to grow as an educator or influencer. Go explore and use your creativity to create a piece of content with these lessons in mind. This was for a mission. So this is just a call to action for you guys. I want you to, after we're done here, go create a new post, create a thread, whatever the subject is that you wish. Create a thread of at least 6 tweets. So you want 6 tweets in a single thread covering a certain topic. Choose it yourself. It could be Secret Network. It could be the agency. It could be Secret Africa. It could be this event here, the Simplified, Decentralized Future. And just use all of the tools that we've talked about. Format it correctly. Use your emojis. Use graphics. Use embedded quoted tweets or videos from YouTube, maybe articles from Medium, and just make it stand out and grab attention. So this is an example of a thread. The first tweet grabbed the attention. The first tweet's job is to grab people's attention, get them reading. It's important to immediately grab the attention and display the topic of your thread in your first tweet. Consider it like the header of an article or the title. You can also add some high tracking hashtags and cash tags. and tag the project or entity your thread is about for extra engagement and visibility. Oh yeah, I'm Pope saying, yeah, drop your questions. Oh, and then I see Peace of Mind. Loomly is a tweet scheduler. Yes, it's a very good one, even the free version. And Grammarly is your grammar check. Absolutely right on. Let me see. Okay, so I think that first topic is pretty clear. You know, make it grab the attention. The first tweet's job is to get people reading. 2, click through, call to action. Or show this is a thread. So you want to indicate to the reader that this is a thread. It's not always apparent unless you make it obvious. There's no such thing as a thread indicator on Twitter, so it's important for you to show there's more comment if people click through. You can use numbering, like the 1 of 2 example, or use emojis like the little thread emoji or the little finger pointing downwards to indicate that there's more below. The best is to combine this with a call to action or question that also indicates more content is coming. Such as let's dive in, or what's next, or learn with me. So you would put like learn with me below, right? Here's a quick example. Erdogan, secure computation is a difficult problem to solve, even more so in decentralized setting. However, Secret Network delivered this and provides the only private Turing complete Web3 computation platform. The vision laid out in 2017 white paper is here. What's next? And then with a thread below. Numbering, show your next tweets are part of a thread. Adding numbering to all your tweets after the first one to show what is coming. You can use a 1 of n or 1 of blank, displaying you don't know the total amount of tweets, or you can skip the numbering at the start and do it when the threads are done. And add, 1 of 15, 2 of 15, 3 of 15, and so on to all of them. This might be a bit harder as you run into the character count limits of Twitter. Set the context. In the first few tweets after your header, you will have to explain some background on your topic. Make sure the audience knows about the core technical terms and the problem at hand. So in this one, you can see 1 of n. First, I'll acknowledge that the secret L1 can always be improved upon. In my opinion, Secret Labs has never been more determined to deliver the best software. So he's talking about, what it is. And then number 2, however, Secret 2.0 is real and stays 100% true to the initial Secret Network vision. So what's it about? And then 3, he's talking about kind of summarizing it. The number 1 complaint I hear about Secret from VC partners is, what if SGX breaks? Personally, I think this attack vector is very much overblown, as SGX is the only way to deliver secure and scalable computation. However, we should not throw caution to the wind. So he kind of, just ends it on somewhat of his personal opinion, summarizing, this isn't as big of a deal as some people think. Okay, 5, build the narration. And the next few tweets describe what is currently relevant, such as solutions to the problem at hand and who is working on it. Add any supporting articles, documents, or links that add a fuller understanding of the subject. Okay, so now we're moving into kind of more of the solutions to the problem. And then you can see he's talking about Guy Ziskin, one of the most cited cryptography researchers. This really shows when you talk to him. Truly a well of knowledge. His pragmatic vision on secure computation shows from this blog post. So he's saying, this is where the solution's coming from, and here's your source material to dig in deeper. And then he links the Beyond ZK blog post. And then kind of a little history about it. In number 5, 3 months ago, community discussed adding MPC threshold encryption to the secret network. To be honest, it's worth going into that blog post, the Beyond ZK, if you haven't read it. Just go to scrt.network, click on the blog option, and read it. It's very informative. Just because I'm trying to save some time here, we're coming to the end. Bring it all together and make a powerful statement. So the way you want to end it out is bringing all of the information, what the problem is, what's going on, kind of a history, and then summary. Bring it all together for a powerful statement or message with the information in the thread. Explain how it comes together or describe a strong use case it can fulfill. So in this one, we're ending out with, just last week, a more formal peek in the mind of Guy Z was released on the forum, and he links that forum topic. Secret always looked beyond SGX, and the time to start implementing some of these techniques is now. So many ideas, time to implement them. So this is kind of where we're moving. Go check it out. Besides novel ways to strengthen the security and usability of Secret Network, I think Secret 2.0 is an avenue to reinforce the position Secret holds in the wider cosmos. I'll share some of my ideas on this later this week. What do you want Secret 2.0 to embrace? So he's kind of summarizing here. There's all these novel ways to strengthen it. Here's the value. I'm going to add some more, but what do you think? There's that leading question. Come engage with me is that final call to action. Call on the reader to do something with the information. This can be anything from liking, sharing the content, checking out some further information, or getting involved in a discussion like governance. This is always kind of the cherry on top. You want to try and end your content with a call to action. And just a common one, asking people to like and retweet is super important. But even if it's not that, it could be check out this video I just posted on YouTube. It could be, for more information, read this blog, whatever the case may be. But you want to bring the reader further into engagement with your final thought. Okay, that brings it to the end. There is one more, but I don't know if we have time for it. I know we were scheduled just for 2 hours, and we only got 2 minutes here. So I'm going to open it up to questions. I could go through this last piece if everyone wants it. But we could just as easily just kind of finish out with some question and answer. So first of all, let me open it up to you, Pope. If you want to add anything, and then we can kind of take some questions and see where we go from here.
Thank you so much, AnewbiZ. This section has really been educational. I've just seen some things I'm making mistake at which I was not taking it off. Not until you made these were very clear to me, and this is really good. Personally, I think I have to work on my own social media skills as well, and things I need to work on can be similar, and I'm going to make sure I put this into use. Thank you very much, AnewbiZ. So, guys, if you do have any question, please do feel free to request to speak or drop your question in the Telegram chat. And if there is no question, I think we can move to the last presentation. But so far, so good. The presentation has been really awesome, to be honest.
Okay. Do you think there's time for this last one? It's probably just it's about the same length as the last one, maybe a little bit shorter. But it's really good information. More about kind of targeting your key opinion leaders and influencers. What do you guys say? Think we should go through it?
Guys, should we continue? Let me know in the Telegram chat if you want us to continue. Okay, I think people are loving this section and they want you to go on, sir. AnewbiZ, please do fire on.
All right. All right. Well, then we're coming into the last piece here. I do apologize for how long it went, but hopefully you guys are getting some good value out of the workshop here. This last part is how to build relationships and get engagement. The article will cover tips and tricks for getting engagement and building relationships. One of the best ways to create awareness for a project, especially technology projects, is to build relationships and show how a project can benefit people on a personal level. Building relationships while engaging is a topic that can be personalized to a large degree. Each person has their own personality and will relate differently. However, there are best practices that encourage engagement, and through engagement, relationships are built. Engage with your followers. Your followers are the foundation of your community and the first people to share and engage on any of your content. It's important to show them that you appreciate their support. You can do small things like say GM to all my active followers regularly, or even just say hi. The idea is to post specifically to appreciate followers. This goes a long way in building a relationship with them. You should also return the favor of retweeting and quote tweeting on good posts by your followers. Commenting and adding perspective on a follower's content or helping answer questions in their threads will make them more likely to continue returning the favor for you. Building relationships this way ties into growing engagement as well, since the more you interact and create friendships this way, the more each of you will engage with each other's content as a whole. This extends into each other's followers as well. When you interact with a certain person more, your followers are more likely to find value in following that person, and this works both ways. Giveaways. Giveaways have pros and cons. There's always the giveaway strategy to consider, where you make an event to give away a prize of some sort. This strategy tends to get an increase of followers and engagement for the length of a giveaway event, but it's somewhat superficial. Many of the followers are there only for the prize and will leave after the event or not really engage beyond fulfilling the giveaway rules. Another issue is that bot accounts tend to seek giveaways, so some of the followers gained may not be actual people. However, some new followers will stick around long term and become valuable contributors. Another benefit is that a giveaway can be a way to show appreciation to existing followers when they win. It's important to note that when an account gets a large influx of followers, it tends to get wider visibility in the algorithms. So even with the downsides in mind, there are real benefits. Giveaways are not necessary since good and valuable content is the most important thing when building your community. But it can be a useful and powerful tool if used wisely. Now, here's your key. Starting to get into targeting people. Learn what is important to people. When engaging in Twitter comments, you can get to know what's important to a person or project by asking questions instead of making statements. Often, people are very focused on saying what's important to them rather than listening to what someone else has to say. When you ask someone a leading question, they're usually happy to reply. This makes them feel more valued and lowers the level of defensiveness most people start with in any conversation with a stranger. The answer to this question can give you an insight into what is important to a person and, more importantly, how you can help or work together. It allows you to start the foundations of getting to know a person. At the same time, the person will be more likely to ask a return question, such as, "What do you think?" This gives you the opportunity to speak, and since they asked you, they're more likely to accept what you have to say and value your opinion. So hopefully that makes sense. Rather than coming into a conversation with the idea of making your statement or sharing your opinion, you come into it, ask a question, let them reply with a question, and then you give your opinion. The reason is, once they've asked you for your opinion, they're going to accept it. If you come straight in, they're going to take it defensively, and it's much more likely they're going to ignore it. Let's take an example. Person A is making a unique NFT project that's focused on community. They're posting on Twitter how they wish there were better options to gatekeep the community and allow members to hide their membership if they wish. Person B is a secret agent and sees the conversation. So they comment on person A's post, "I'm always interested in NFT communities and DAOs. What would your community ideal be? And what kind of verification process would you have?" So person B is just coming in and asking questions, right? Person A says, "The community would be a DAO that uses Treasury to create a passive income for all members. Any holder of the NFT would have one vote per NFT and a percentage of the Treasury yield. What I want to do is make it so holders can hide the NFT ownership, though, which is hard to do." Person B can now talk about NFT projects on the secret network that have treasuries and DAOs, and how all secret NFTs have programmable privacy built in, allowing ownership to be shared only at will, while still verifiable to a community gatekeeping program. So they've come in, they've asked questions, and then once there's follow-up, they're able to kind of share in a more natural way. The conversation started with person B asking what's important to person A, rather than person B going straight into the answer. Although person B could have made a safe guess that secret NFT communities have advantages for person A, the information is more valuable when it becomes an answer to their own stated need. Let's sum it up. One second. Here we go. Okay, yeah, let's sum it up. Sometimes asking questions can be better than giving unwanted answers. Second, tailor your message to the counterparty. Think of their relation with crypto and their goals. Third, focus on sharing information that helps and supports the other party, as well as anyone else who reads it. So think of the other person, but also think of any other observer that may come later on. Use language that indicates something is your opinion rather than the truth. So rather than making a blanket statement of something, make it evident that your opinion is, whatever the topic is at hand. Build relationships. Okay, interacting with people consistently over time is a foundational way to build relationships. By asking questions and making comments that support someone's content, you add value to their content. This builds respect for your own opinions. You do not need to mention your preferred projects in every interaction. Super important to remember. You do not need to mention your preferred projects in every interaction. If you oversell a project, you begin to look more like a cheap shill and less like a key opinion leader. You always want to identify with key opinion leader rather than a shill. By adding value to another creator's content, they are likely to return the favor, but also more likely to start following what you're publishing and get involved. Keep in mind that you want to be targeted in these relationships. Find the influencers and key opinion leaders in your chosen field. Spend time building relationships with them. So just for example, secret network, it's privacy and blockchain. So if I'm trying to build a following or a project in blockchain privacy, I probably want to look at the influencers that are talking about privacy, that are talking about blockchain, and preferably both at the same time. And I probably want to look at projects that are building those things. So Secret Network, Monero, other privacy preserving projects, and build relationships with those. Also target the ones that have large followings. You only have so much time in a day, so you want to be mindful of not wasting that time. You want to view your time as valuable. So being targeted is essential. Okay, we're going to look at an example. And so this is an example of something I did a while back. AnewbiZ spent some time interacting with January Walker, a member of the U.S. Congress, who is gaining traction in Utah, one of the United States. She's very pro-blockchain, privacy, and self-sovereignty. So this is a picture of January Walker's profile. You can see U.S. Congress candidate, and yeah, you can kind of see her party and all of that. By building a relationship, by talking about the content at hand that show below and not shilling SCRT, a level of respect was built. So we're going to get into some of our interactions. So January Walker was posting. This was around the time of a congressional elections, and she posted "Got blockchain." So rather than come in and shill secret, I came in and said, "What would you say is the best real world utility of blockchain? I have my opinions, but I would love to hear yours at firsthand." Okay, so she sees that I'm asking her opinion and responds, "Best real-world utility? I have a bias towards identity and complete privacy. It's going to be a tough call between debt, supply chain, and water benefits for second place. What's yours?" Okay, so now she's asked my opinion. So she's asking my opinion, and I say, I actually agree with the identity and complete privacy. I put that in the self-sovereignty case. I emphasize identity as being with privacy, since sensitive identity information must have user data control or it becomes a security risk. But the potential is astounding. And right there, we're starting to talk on the same page, right? We're agreeing with each other. We're asking for each other's opinion. And that's how a relationship starts. Now, a short time later, January was holding a Twitter space about blockchain voting, where a perfect opportunity arose on the call to share Secret Network's private voting utility. So here's just a picture of the call. They were talking about it. So I made a comment that was specifically relevant to the conversation that we're having, at that moment. So my comment, you should take a look at Secret Network for private voting solutions. They're about to launch a privacy as a service cross-chain smart contract utility with the next upgrade. It means bodies like DAOs on public ledgers can get verifiable results with user privacy. So, basically a perfect solution for what they're talking about. And so we'll fast forward a little bit. A short time later, the events around Tornado Cash getting sanctioned were creating a stir. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when that first happened, everyone was in an uproar about privacy, as they should be. And Tor Bear from Secret Foundation back when he was heading the Secret Foundation, was speaking at the CoinDesk event in January, joined to hear more about what SCRT has to offer, and has since followed several key members of the secret agency, including myself. So you can just see a snapshot on that CoinDesk event that Tor was speaking at. You can see she jumped in and was listening about Secret Network, following up from that conversation I had, that comment in her own space. You can see her circled right there in the audience, right next to myself. So this is a good example of just building relationships. I'm not trying to call out how well that was executed. I'm just showing the example of that's how relationships are built. You ask people questions, you ask their opinion, you show them that you value it, and that's how relationships grow. In this case, I was able to onboard a member of the U.S. Congress, right? Which is great. That's a target worth following up on. Let's see. So, I'm sorry. One sec. There we go. Okay, so this is a good example of just building relationships and using opportunities that arise naturally rather than forcing a topic. See, that's the other key point. Letting it come up naturally, not forcing the topic. When you force your opinion on someone else, they're going to be defensive, they're going to ignore it, or they're going to look at you like a cheap shill. Whereas if you let it kind of come around naturally, they're going to accept it most often. Ways to improve engagement. In this section, we will talk about the various ways to improve your overall engagement. Okay, use content libraries. If you're part of the Secret Network or the Secret Agents, we have content libraries that are available to all agents. But any community tends to have, a community library. So you can download the infographics, things like that. Use that content to your advantage. So I'm going to kind of focus on Secret Agent library. But like I say, most communities have this. The Education Infographic Library has a great selection of graphics. They're already created, so you don't have to spend time on it, and can add visual appeal to your content as well as educational conversation starters. When you use infographics in your threads, it can open the door to further questions about a topic and give more perspective on a subject and make your content more attractive to readers. This is a very powerful tool. And here's a link to the library. Another great engagement magnet is polls, setting up votes. One great way to get engagement is using polls on trending topics, such as governance opinions, market outlooks, or upcoming project launches. Anything that's kind of trending or high excitement in your space, it's just a great opportunity to get that engagement metrics up. Now, since polls are specifically designed to make people engage to share opinions, if it has a topic that many people have strong opinions on, it will get engagement, hands down. Add in the fact that in order to see the results of a poll, you must vote yourself. This attracts engagement even from people who are just curious about the results, even if they don't necessarily have a strong opinion. They just want to see what the answer is. This is a great tool for adding value to your tweets and can be added into threads as well as standalone tweets. So it's just a great tool to keep in mind. A lot of people forget about it. But yes, polls tend to get more engagement than standard content. Timing and consistency is powerful. Another way to get consistent engagement is to make your content consistent. This means posting around the same time of day, trying to make it during busier traffic hours. For example, and a pro tip, the hour between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., UTC is considered the busiest overall due to global time zones, being both waking up and finishing work at that time. So as a global level, 3 to 4 a.m. Universal Standard Time is the busiest hour of the day. This boosts chances of visibility, but also allows followers to look forward to your content. When you have a consistency, people can kind of, even subconsciously, look forward to the next content, and they'll have their eyes open at a certain time of the day for that next piece. So building that consistency starts to build even a subconscious trend in your audience. And we've already covered this, but I can't stress it enough. Engage with those who engage with you. Build that relationship. Really, when it comes to social media marketing, there's multiple avenues you can take. My personal favorite, hands down, is organic marketing. And the foundation of organic marketing is relational. So engaging with the people that engage with you is your foundation. It's your bread and butter. Building those relationships with community. Now, you can do paid ads, but let's be honest. Most startups or beginners in the space don't have the extra money to throw it at advertising or promoted content. So that's why I'm focusing so much on the free versions here and the organic, because it's going to be more powerful to a beginner than saying, hey, you got to spend this amount of money to make it. So foundationally, to get started, you want to go with organic. And the most important thing to do that is to engage with the people who engage with you. Appreciate your community. So by reacting and engaging with all comments and reactions to your content, you will grow engagements as well as build relationships. When you engage with the people who engage with you at a valuable level, you can organically grow a loyal following while creating higher engagement rates, which in turn makes your content more visible to larger audiences. All right, we made it through. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to open it to Pope, and then I'm going to try and back read a little bit here. I think there was some questions that I may have missed. And then Pope, if you want to open it to questions and such. I'm just going to review the chat here real quick.
Awesome. Man, this section has really been impactful with knowledge. Now, I believe everyone on this section today should be able to make good content and engage with people on their socials. This is really amazing. With this content, I think this is just beyond Twitter. You can also use it on other social medias. Some of these skills which you've gained from this section, I think I apply it to Facebook, to Reddit, also to Instagram. But I'm not a really big fan of Instagram, to be honest. I'm much more like a LinkedIn person and also Twitter person. Reddit, I'm not very active in that community. But this has been great, and I think you can apply this to all socials, and this is really good. So guys, we still have a few minutes left. So guys, if you have any questions at all, please do feel free to ask. The section has really been educative, and I'm glad AnewbiZ was able to simplify this. So guys, please you can request to speak or use the Telegram chat to ask your questions. So regarding engage with those who engage with you, this is very, very effective. Like I said, AnewbiZ has used this technique. This technique has worked greatly for AnewbiZ. I could remember that was also what that also just encouraged me, or probably that was what made me to also start engaging with some of these capable leaders, because I realized when AnewbiZ engage with them, they value his opinion, because he's not trying to be biased, he's not trying to surely project to them, but rather he's just trying to reply in context to what they are saying. So having a meaningful conversation with them, communication with them, rather than just trying to tell them, okay, this is wrong. Rather, he's trying to pass a message and also communicate with them, which makes a lot of sense. The way you engage matters a lot. The approach you use matters a lot. And AnewbiZ, check out his tweets. I've just dropped his Twitter handle on the Telegram chat. So make sure you guys follow him. If you check out his tweet, his tweet, his reply, you will see the approach is very, very calm. Approach that no matter where you're coming from, you have to see that, man, this guy knows what he's saying because he's good at it. He's not just saying some random thing. No, he's saying things that makes a lot of sense, things that you could easily relate to. And he doesn't use words people don't understand. If he's interacting with a developer, he knows how to approach the developer. If he's interacting with a user, he knows how to approach a user. If he's interacting with a VC, he knows how to approach a VC. And these are separate one. The approach matters. And with all these techniques AnewbiZ has made mention today, I think this is good for you. This is a goal for you. And one thing about social media marketing and community management is consistency. You need to be consistent always. You need to be able to show up and not just be consistent. You need to be able to produce good content, just like AnewbiZ has mentioned. The format of your tweet, how you maximize the visibility, how you engage meaningfully as well, and also forming a thread, which is really, really very important. There are several times a few times when I write a thread, I usually send the thread to AnewbiZ to go through it and then give me his feedback. It's very, very important. When you do something, ask people who are very good at it. Ask them for the feedback. What did they think about it? How can you make this much more better? Feedback matters a lot as well. So I don't know if people are getting it, and please do feel free to ask any question. If you have any question at all, you can ask yourself a few minutes left before the end of the space, the section rather. Sorry, I'm used to that space.
Yeah, definitely jump on in. While we still got a few minutes here, if anyone wants me to clarify on anything or just have any questions. But yeah, it's like Pope was saying, it's super important to be consistent with your content and approach people in the right way. You want to know who your audience is. You won't approach a VC in the same way you're going to approach a developer. And you're definitely not going to approach a developer in the same way as a user, right? If you're talking to a user, you're probably going to have more of an educational flow, answering questions or guiding, where a developer, you're probably going to be asking more questions than answering, right? Because you're going to be talking to a professional in their field. However, sometimes you will be educating. A developer may ask you some questions. A developer from Ethereum may definitely have some questions about how Secret Network or the developing language works. So you have to be open to, kind of open-minded, but you have to kind of target your audience in a different way. Just realize, who's your audience and kind of meet them where they're at. It makes it a lot easier to grow. Yeah, I can share the documents so you guys can kind of look over the lessons here. I'll work on that and send some copies in here. Once we finish up, I'll try to get it within maybe a half hour. Good question.
All right, thanks so much, AnewbiZ. That will be very, very helpful. Thanks so much. Okay, guys, please keep your questions coming in before we end tonight's section. And tonight's section has really been amazing. That's not I've learned so much from what AnewbiZ has taught us tonight. With some of this technique, I'm going to be applying it on my tweet. So I think you guys should be seeing some difference in my tweet compared to before. The main goal is to get better at what you do. Doing it better, doing it daily, consistently, making it, for the users, for the people, trying to pass something out there to them and not just ship some stuff. There should always be some sort of value in what we are, saying. Okay, I don't think we have any questions, just feedback. AnewbiZ, I think the feedback regarding your section has been great. People really love what you've taught us tonight, and it's good.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Definitely enjoyable. Just glad you guys liked it, and hope you got some good value.